Hey guys, this is Wale from Impulse Labs, and today we're doing a little tour of the UI and controls on the Impulse Cooktop. So the Impulse Cooktop has a large screen in the middle. This is not a touch screen, it's just for a display, and you interact with the screen by turning and clicking the magnetic knobs, kind of in the same way that you would with a first generation iPod before they added the touchscreen. So when you first turn on the cooktop, you'll see that it is divided into 4 quadrants, with each quadrant corresponding to one of the 4 burners. To turn on a burner, you simply push the button. Clicking it once will put it in power mode. You'll know it's power mode because it's blue, and the unit is a W for watts. Clicking it again will put it in temperature mode. The bar is yellow, and the unit is either Fahrenheit or Celsius. Now going back to power mode, you'll see that there are some words on the screen that correspond to different power levels. These are going to be familiar from your stove at home. There is medium, low, medium, medium, high, high, and then power boost. Now, one thing I would flag here is that this bar is not a linear scale. 80% of the scale is turned over to the range of temperatures that other stoves have, which is basically 3 kilowatts and less, and the remainder of it is for power mode, which is 3 to 10 kilowatts. Clicking a second time will take us over to temperature mode. Again, there are words on the screen corresponding to cooking practices: warm, brown, fry, sear, and melt. These are to help you kind of have a sense of what different temperatures are going to correspond to different cooking tasks that you might be doing. You can have different burners in different modes at the same time. You see all of these burners have an icon on them. That is the missing pan icon, because obviously there are no pans on the cooktop at this moment. I'm going to turn off all burners. You can either turn off a burner by dialing it all the way to the left, or by lifting the knob off. Now, to do settings with all 4 burners off, you press and hold any knob until the gear at the top has been fully colored in. That takes about 2 seconds. Then you release and you'll be in the settings menu. Settings menu is fairly straightforward. It tells you the latest software version that you're on, the Wi-Fi network you're connected to, your cooking units, current battery state of charge and controls, resources, system info, factory reset, and customer support contact info. On any of these selections, you just scroll to it and you can click, and that brings you into the action menu. Here, we could change our selected Wi-Fi network. You can change your cooking units from Fahrenheit to Celsius, and we'll look at power controls. We give you 2 different ways to control when your cooktop is being charged, and every single stove will take advantage of both ways at the same time. The first is scheduled charging. This does what it sounds like. You schedule a time that you want your stove to charge. The default is 3 a.m. in your local time zone. We're in the LA time zone, so you see region, America, time zone, Los Angeles, charging time 3 a.m., and then scheduled current. That last one is how many amps you want the cooktop to be charging at. You can select in half amp increments from 4 to 12.5 amps. If you have limited capacity on your circuit, this can be useful to prevent it from tripping. It also can affect if you hear any fan noise. At 12.5 amps, the fan on the inverter, when it's charging, it's subtle, but it's noticeable. At 4 amps, I don't believe it's actually running, or you can't hear it if it is. Battery reserve. This is the other control for charging behavior. What the battery reserve level is for is it is for if you're cooking a large meal or multiple meals throughout the day. This is what ensures that you never need to worry about running out of charge. What the reserve level does is it's basically an alternate trigger for charging. If your stove's state of charge falls below the reserve level, it will start charging and charge back up to full capacity at 100% regardless of the time of day. So it overrides the scheduled charge. You can specify different battery reserve levels in 5% increments from 30 to 70%. The default is 70. And like with scheduled charging, you can specify the max current at which you want to be charging. The default is 12.5, which is the max, but you can change it in half amp increments all the way down to 4. Again, you just click to apply, then go back, click again. Resources, system information, and contact support are pretty straightforward. I'll show you just system information here. This is where you find your stove serial number and the latest firmware versions if you ever have an issue and you need to get in touch with us. Thanks for joining us. If you have any more questions about the stove UI or how the stove controls work, leave them in the comments and we'll be sure to answer. Thanks a lot.